Hello, how are you? How are you doing? How is life treating you? I just wanted to jump in here quickly and share something that I've noticed. It's becoming a trend, and I feel it's ideal to actually address this issue because lots of families are moving, lots of people are moving outside of their country, of their home country. And do you notice that lots of marriages that used to seem to work in Africa, all of a sudden they start falling apart? Have you ever wondered why some of these, African marriages, I don't want to name any country because it's something that happens to different countries. African marriages, I'll call it, fall apart just shortly after they relocate abroad. They were happy, they prayed together, they planned their future, but months after settling, or maybe a couple of years after settling in a new country, everything started to crumble. What really happens? Why do some of these African ladies or even African men, because I shared a story not too long ago about a man who told me that he actually had to leave his marriage. I just want to make sure that my microphone is working. I think it is. He had to leave his marriage. He had to walk out. He said, I practically walked out. So it does not only happen to ladies, it also happened to men. But today, let's see, let's try to focus on the most common one, which is ladies walking out of their marriages. Okay. The marriages that they once fought to build. Why are they walking out of it? That's the topic that we have today. And I just plead your indulgence. Stay with me because in this video, okay, in this discussion, in this life, I want to dive deep. I want to talk deeply about the reason, what's behind this, and what can singles learn from saying, I do, happy, and all of a sudden, this big shift of moving to another country and they have to deal with the hustle, the bustle, the struggle, the challenges, and it having a strain on their marriages. Whenever you watch this video, if you're watching now or you'd watch it later, just make sure that you pick whatever you can learn from this. That's the best advice that I have for you. Okay. Now, there's this cultural shift that happens when people move out of their home country. Because back at home, many African women grew up in cultures where marriage roles are clearly defined. The man provides, he leads, he decides, and what does the woman do? She submits and she supports. And sometimes the men even say to their women, to their wives, no, do not work. I'll take care of everything. If the guy is really well off and he wants the wife to just take care of the children of the home front, that happens, right? But when they relocate abroad, something changes. What changes? They realize suddenly that the lady finds herself in an environment that values equality. And if there are problems before, she feels, okay, now I have a voice. She's in an environment that values independence. She's in an environment where there is self expression. People can express themselves and not feel judged by anyone. And most especially, she sees women leading companies. She sees women earning degrees. She sees women making decisions, big, big decisions. And they don't need to ask her questions about, did your husband give you permission? Where's your husband? Are you married? And they don't try to shame you because of your marital status. And these women, they make these decisions, they take these bold steps in companies, in the environment, in the society, at their workplace. And these women do this without fear. They're not afraid of any reprisal or any repercussions or any side words, side comments, and all that. That exposure alone, it challenges old beliefs. She begins to see life from another place, from another perspective. And when her husband still expects her to live as though she never left home, like everything is still the same, tension begins. That's just the truth. They start to have tensions. And the man will be like, when did this one began? When did you start? When did we start behaving like this to one another? When did we become this? When did we become these people? The man does not understand. He does not understand. The woman he married has now seen herself differently. She's now seen another part of her. And the man is left in shock. He does not understand and he wants to sometimes force her to remain the same way, maybe calling home, maybe becoming violent, and many vices start coming in. He starts to lose patience because he does not understand this new woman that is blossoming and he's shocked. I'm not saying that in every case the women are right because for some women it's just like this, oh, really? And then they cannot manage this exposure, this difference, these new things that they are living. Maybe for some women it's even the first time in their 10 years, 12 years, 13, 14, 15 years of marriage is the first time that they will actually work in secular work. It's the first time that they will see a pay with their own name on it. So that, excitement could make them maybe go a little overboard or maybe say some things that the man does not expect. And maybe they don't manage it well. And before you know it, it capsizes the boat. So this new woman who now has a job, who earns sometimes more than her husband, she's different. And that's because out here abroad, people, both husband and wife, they have to work. They have to work because the needs are different. The bills are coming. The bills never wait. And every penny is important. The lady is now earning. She now has a salary. She now has a pay slip. She's earning her own income. And sometimes, as I said, she even earns more than the man. For some men, that's a blow to their ego, and that's understandable. They were, some people call them odogu. They're like boss. They're like, they are all, everything was, they have to ask them for everything. They veto every money that goes out of the account. They're the ones that give their wife money. And all of a sudden she can take money from her own account. She has her own bank account sometimes, or they have a joint account and she has her own personal account, and she wants to draw money out of there. She wants to have savings. She wants to have a say in the finance of the family. And the man's ego is blown, like he feels, no, this is not it, this is not how it is, and he feels uncomfortable. For some women it's freedom that they've never had. They're like, oh my God, now I can talk. Now, when this man messes up with me, I can tell him upfront without fear. And I was listening to a video on YouTube where the woman was talking about how some women stay in abusive relationship, whether emotionally abusive relationship or physically abusive relationship, because they cannot afford to leave. They cannot afford to leave. They cannot afford to leave that home. That's where they've built their life. That's all they know. And they have no income. They never built any income. They have no salary. They have no way of earning anything. And so they just stay there because they cannot afford to leave. But for a woman who has come and has started working and started earning money, she feels, oh, I can afford to leave. They experience this kind of freedom that they've never had. And if the marriage was built if it was built only on who provides, that's why men, listen to this and listen good. If your marriage is only built on who provides, then when both of you start to provide, the foundation begin to shake. The foundation of your marriage will begin to shake. So build your marriage on more than what you're providing, more than you being the provider, you being the one giving her money. Let your marriage be built on more things: friendship, trust, mutual respect, love, deep love for one another. Those are better foundations upon which to build your marriage. Now, another thing that happens also is that both people are working, right? And relocation itself is a test. It's a big test. It's a new culture that you're experiencing. It's new bills. It's new pressures, new expectation. And if the couple don't communicate intentionally, they drift apart. The man is going in the morning, the woman is going at night. So they just meet at the door and they exchange the keys. And if they don't have kids, then they just come in high, high, and everybody is just going. Before you know it, there's a kind of drifting apart. Because communication can bring you together. But when there's break in communication, your your closeness start to crack. You start to have this drifting apart from each other. Sometimes one adapts faster than the other. One person in the marriage fits in better than the other. The other one is still trying to assimilate to understand this new reality and all of that. But the lady, she learns the system quickly. Most times women are multitasking, and you sometimes see them quickly get a job and build community because it's easy for women to make friends. Men, they take their time, and even when they make friends, they don't share that much, or sometimes they don't share at all. They just keep their relationship very peripheral and just at the top. They don't go deep. But women, when they meet, they talk to each other. They talk, they say things, and women listen to each other, and they start to feel like, okay, so another man can treat a woman like this, and the man that I'm living with has been treating me this other way, this kind of way for such a long time. I can't take it anymore. The man, maybe he's struggling to adjust, and he still wants to run the home the African way. Then problems start. He wants to come home and not do anything, because back at home we know that most men have been, you know, educated or trained to not do house chores. So many men don't do house chores. They feel like they get married because they need someone to do that for them. As a man, maybe they are being shamed for doing house chores and they don't do it. And the woman, when she has to do all of that, especially for those who are working, maybe part time or any kind of jobs back in Africa before they move abroad, they need help. They cannot do it all alone. So what do? They get mates, they get helps, they get people who can help them do the things that the man should have been doing. They get people to, do the laundry, the cleaning, watching of the kids. Some people have like three helps: people, someone taking care of the kids, someone helping the kids with assignments, someone, making sure that the kids are okay, are all fed, have had their bath, especially when they have young kids. But here, you cannot afford that. It's too expensive for you to afford even one help. So most times you are the cleaner, you are the person that helps with assignments, you are the driver, you are the one that goes shopping, you're the one that cooks the food, you're the all of these things after a long day, sometimes 8 hours of work, 9, 10, 12 hours of work. People are tired. Soon frustration grows and love becomes a survival. They start to resent their husband. They start to get touchy. They start to speak back to him. They feel, what are you doing? You're just there, you're lying down, you're waiting for me to do everything for you. But there's a lot of things lying there undone. Somebody has to get it done. And the man is like, what do you mean? That's not how we've always lived in our marriage. And if he's not ready to adjust, frustration comes in, resentment steps in, lots of quarreling, misunderstanding, exchange of words, hurtful words, and things that were inside, maybe hiding inside of her, start to come out, and she start to speak them out. And now, let's be honest. Some women stayed in unhealthy relationship, unhealthy marriages back at home because society said endure, pray for him, be patient with him. That's how women do it. That's how your mothers do it. That's how your mothers did it. That's how your grandmothers did it. That's how everyone did it. That's men. That's the men ego. That's how it is. You have to just do this. You have to be patient. You have to be enduring. You have to be, Proverbs 31 woman. You have to lots of things that women programs and all of that. They talk to the women and the women and the women. But abroad, the law protects the woman. And the system empowers her to leave you, to leave the man if she's been maltreated or mistreated. That's the fact. Let's call it the way it is. She no longer has to hide behind in silence. She no longer has to keep crying. Trust me, when a woman goes to the hospital and she goes to see her doctor and she's just having a random conversation and she begins to cry, the doctor wants to know more. The physician wants to know more. The nurses want to know more. The social workers want to know more. Like there is something that makes you to cry. Are you miserable? Are you okay? Are you, is it threatening you? Is he abusing you? Is he hurting you? What will make you to just randomly start to shed tears? Back at home, the doctor will, console you, but they will not do much. Nothing much can be done. But now here, they will dig deeper and they will be very happy to excuse the man. Even if they came together, they'll tell the man to step out and they'll ask the woman questions. They will question her to the point that they will hear or get to the root of the matter. And for some couples, moving abroad exposes what they covered up back home: the verbal abuse, the disrespect, the emotional neglect, the yelling, lots of things that happens. And when the spiritual bond is weak, when prayer disappears, when pride replaces humility, the covenant cracks. Rather than praying, they're self managing. That's the recipe for failure. Now, if you're single and you're watching this, please listen carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Marriage doesn't change people, it only reveals who they really are. You must have heard this many times. We have said it over and over again that marriage does not change people, it will only reflect it, to only reveal who they really are. Now, if someone is controlling, if someone is insecure, if someone is spiritually shallow before relocation, a new country will not fix it. It will expose it. It will exaggerate. It will enhance it. It will, show it, shine it. As a single, build a relationship on mutual respect, on open communication, and make sure that you have a shared vision. You're going the same direction with the person that you plan to get married to. Don't build your relationship or your marriage on culture or convenience. And most especially, don't take each other for granted. Because over time, you can take someone for granted for a couple of months or years. But when there's a shift, that person will no longer tolerate you. Don't marry someone who only loves you when you're silent. Don't build your future on gender roles. I'm the man here, I'm the woman here, according to our gender role in our culture. This is what women do, this is what men do. Men do. No. Build your relationship, your marriage on godly principles. The Bible said women should submit to their husband as unto the Lord. If you're maltreating her, how do you expect her to submit to you without resentment? How are you helping this woman to get to heaven? If you're maltreating her, if you're verbally abusive to her, if you're always talking her down, humiliating her in public, and unkind to her, and vice versa. If you as a woman are disrespectful to your husband, and you think because now you're abroad, then you can just talk to him anyhow you want, and you can just treat him anyhow you want because you think that now, yes, you have people who will listen to you, you have where to run to, you can afford to leave, then you didn't build your marriage on godly principles. Those are not the principles that God is giving us as Christians. I I know that there's a lot of things to say about this. There are lots of things that make people to leave marriages, and don't mind what they say on social media. People will say whatever they want to say on social media. People will smile what they want to smile on social media. But sometimes deep inside the marriages that are all smiles on social media and all glamorous on social media, deep down there is hurt. There is pain that is, made up that they use smile as a makeup upon. They're trying to project to you what is not real. That's why after a very short time, you start seeing marriages that were very perfect. All of a sudden, they are hitting the rocks, and you're wondering, like, "Ah, they looked very happy. They looked like everything was fine." And some marriages are genuinely happy marriages that they show on social media because, as we say, there's a lot of bad marriages out there that we who have good marriages want to show that marriage can work. When I smile on social media, I really do smile because I have nothing that I'm hiding. I hate pretending. I will not pretend to show what is not. I would rather not come online to show anything. Even though I met my husband abroad, yes, so we already know, we already all were in this culture, we're already in the routine, we already know the abroad life, we already did things for ourselves, we already know that men help their wife, women help their husband, we already know that the home is your home. One person cannot be slaving for you while you just sit around and do nothing. No, we already know all those things, and because we've lived here and we have seen the culture, we know what is obtainable and what is not, and we're Christians. I feel it was a little easier, even though there are things that I do because my husband thinks that I do it better, but doesn't mean that he cannot do them, like cooking. It's not a problem for my husband to come and give a hand and turn the fufu, right? Fufu is hard to turn. Most times you find my husband helping us to turn the fufu, right? The swallow. He can turn that. And it doesn't hurt him to take a broom and sweep or use the vacuum and vacuum the house. It doesn't hurt him to fold clothes. If he's not too busy, submerged with his business and clients, he lends his own contribution. He contributes to making the home run smoothly. When the kids were very young, the father will give them a bath while maybe I'm setting the table. And we did things together. We went shopping together. When the kids were babies, my husband, we always sat together in church, and we shared the carrying of the baby, holding the baby in church so that one person is not overburdened. And for some African men, they felt, oh, that's too much. Why are you always sitting beside your wife? Let the woman take care of her. No, he said, no, no, no. I've always wanted to be an on-hands parent, available in the life of my children, helping to take care of them. And he did that with a lot of grace. And I appreciate him for that. And I see a lot of men in church who are doing the same thing, very helpful to their wives. They go to pick the children at daycare, they dress the kids up. You see them, you know that these are hands-on men, they're hands-on husband. They're taking care of the children as much as the woman is taking care of the children. No, it's no one's singular responsibility. It's your home, it's your house, it's your children. So if you're here and you're listening to this, I just want you to know this, that marriage was never meant to be a power struggle. It's not a place where it's a battlefield or a battleground and you guys are fighting. No, marriage is a partnership where two people walking together in love and humility and faith are in this partnership to make the marriage work, to make the marriage enjoyable for each and every one of them. The world is changing, but God's design for marriage hasn't. It's still the same. God's expectation and God's desire for marriages to be beautiful has not changed. Whether in Africa or abroad, a strong marriage is built when both hearts are surrendered to God, not to pride. Both of you, you are not proud. You are not trying to score any point with one another. But you're trying to build a marriage that is centered on God. And don't forget that out here abroad, there are big influence at work, in social circles. Environment shapes mindsets. Abroad, women, they meet other women and they talk about happiness, joy, enjoying yourself. They talk about mental health over societal expectations. They tell each other that, forget about what society says. Forget about that. If your mental health is not, your mental health is top notch. You need to take care of your mental health. They tell them that over and over again. Women encourage women. They support women. So when a woman keeps hearing that you don't have to stay in a toxic marriage, it can become empowering for her. But also it can lead to some quick decisions without full counseling or prayers. Those are some of the shifts that you would notice because people travel abroad. And if you want your marriage to stay and not break down because you are living abroad, make sure by all means that you keep the prayer altar going. Let the fire on the altar keep burning. Pray with one another, no matter how busy you are. The short time that you find yourself, hold each other's hands and pray with one another. Pray for one another. Don't take each other for granted. Don't stop attending church. Go to church. Because when you stop attending church, then you lose your foundation of faith. You lose your touch with God. You lose your touch with fellow believers. And before you know it, your marriage starts to become weak. The devil is fighting marriages. He wants to break marriages. But your marriage will not break. No matter where you are, no matter where you travel to, no matter what happens, the Lord will keep your own marriage. Because without God at the center of the marriage, external pressure easily break what used to be solid. But if you keep God at the center of your marriage, no matter the winds that blow, it will be like the house that is built on the rock. Wind will blow, the rain will fall, the tempest will rage, the storm will rise. That house will never, ever fall. That house will stand the test of time. And it will be a point of contact for people out there. So, my friends, if this message spoke to you, if you have picked one or two things from this, share it with someone. And please, I want to see your comments. What do you think? What do you think happens that makes marriages to fall apart when people travel abroad? What do you think you can do differently to keep your home, no matter where you are, no matter where you travel to, no matter the person you get married to, if you're not yet married. And if you're married, this is a very good lesson for you. What are you doing to keep your marriage together? Give an advice to some young people, some newly married people, some people who are in courtship and maybe their spouse is in another part of the world and they're having distant relationship and will soon be getting married, or even just for singles. Please drop a piece of advice for them and don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, so that you can be alerted. And there's an alert button. You can click on it. You'll be alerted whenever we we come and discuss some of this feed-based contents, feed-based discussion and conversations for singles, and also, of course, we think about the couples as well, married people, young married people. And don't forget, a change of location should never mean a change of covenant. Remember the covenant that you have made with the Lord at the altar when you said, I do. And don't let anything, moving abroad or no moving abroad, societal pressure and all that, don't let anything break your, come between you and your vow. God bless you and see you next time. Thank you for connecting and thank you for joining us in this quick life, unexpected life. And I will see you next time. Thank you, Masika.